approve the minutes of February 8th, 2022.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Okay, annual election of committee chairman and vice chairman. Already, huh? Okay. Is there a nomination for chairman?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that Mr. Chairman be nominated.
Are there any other nominations?
No, but I'll second that one.
Any discussion? All in favor?
How does Mr. Chairman feel about being chairman?
Don't let me vote.
I'm used to it.
Aye. I vote aye.
So two nays.
Sharon, you okay?
Oh, yes. I thought it was a done deal.
Not it, is all I know. I don't want it.
Vice chairman nominees.
Who is the vice chairman now?
Mr. Bates.
Okay, we
Can we nominate someone in absentia?
Yeah.
That's even better.
We nominate Mr. Bates.
Any other nominees? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. New business. You want to introduce?
I was going to say, we have the presentation of the single audit and the management letter from our external auditors, Crossland.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Monternock. I'm an audit partner with Crossland, and I was in charge of your single audit this year. And I have the report in front of you. This should be pretty quick, but there's a few things that I wanted to point out. On your schedule of expenditures of federal awards, on page 21, is your total federal expenditures for the year, which was $369 million. This is significantly higher than previous years. It was approximately $175 million. In 2020, most of that increase is due to COVID funding that the city has received over the past year. If you look up a few lines above, the total is the CARES Act program for 109. That was a large piece of that increase. So I just wanted to point that out. The next schedule is your expenditures of state awards. And there is $48 million of the state awards. Is a summary of our auditor's results. This summarizes all of our testing, narrows it down to 2 pages. On our financial statements, which we issued in the fall, we issued an unmodified opinion over the financial statements. In our yellow book, testing, where we report any findings over internal controls over the financial statements, we're happy to report that there are no findings, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, and no non-compliance material to the financial statements. Below that is our results of our uniform guidance testing. That's compliance testing over the federal awards. Internal control over our major programs. We're also reporting no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies. Our opinion over our major federal programs is unmodified, and we had no compliance findings. I just want to say that that is really incredible to have no findings, particularly with $369 million of federal expenditures, and I just want to applaud management for doing such a great job handling those awards. On the next page is our major programs that we tested. We had 5 of them: the IDEA grant, ESSER, which is an education grant, and also part of the COVID awards. The disaster recovery, which was the FEMA, the healthcare preparedness, and the MAC federal COVID rent utility assistance program. Our dollar threshold for major programs is $3 million, which is consistent with previous years, and the city is a low-risk audit. On page 33 is where we report that we had no findings. And then on page 34, as part of our testing, we're also required to follow up on any findings that we had the previous year and report an update on those. And we did look back on those, and we had some financial statement findings in the previous year, and those have all been corrected.
Any comments? Questions?
I have a question. So on the federal money that is received, it's not spent right away. Is it put in an account where interest is accruing?
Yes, I believe so. I know
So
for the-
where is the money that's accrued from the interest? Where is that allocated, or what happens to that?
That is put into the program, and it is spent as part of the program. That's one of the federal requirements.
So it's put back into the COVID?
For any interest left, but no.
I would just add, because it is short-term money that we don't hold long, we don't invest it long, so the return rate is comparable to what you would get your savings account or your bank account. It is de minimis, but we can get
Right,
that
but on a
number for you.
$30 million, I mean, that can be significant. I mean, it can make a difference. It could buy some sidewalks.
Oh, it's probably closer to $100,000. I mean, we're talking only sitting there, because we're drawing throughout the year. It's not staying at 30 and, basis points on top of that. It's not earning a lot of money, but we can get you the exact number, but it is required to go back into the program.
So where is it? I just want to see where it is spent, because I know that would be, and probably more significant on a state level than it is on a local level, but it's still interesting to me to know that.
Sure, yeah, we can get you that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
This was really good.
Yeah, it was excellent. Right.
So we can either, we'll have to accept this either today or next meeting, but you probably want to do it today if you have any other questions. So I have a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
I think I want to oppose or abstain, because I hadn't had an opportunity to go through it to say that I think that it's good, although I like Crossland and I think they probably has done a fantastic job. But I just don't want to be a rubber stamp.
Okay, well, we'll consider we're back in discussion mode. I guess it's okay to back up.
Well, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do we need to approve it today?
You're accepting it.
Accepting
There was to
it?
say, there is a difference, but you don't have to approve it or accept it today, no.
Okay, well, we'll go back to the discussion.
Do we have to approve it eventually?
You have to accept it.
Accept.
That's part of the bylaws for the audit committee. Is that they
Right,
do
I know. I'm
accept.
saying
Yes.
she said it's a difference in acceptance and approval. So do we have to approve it?
No, you will
Okay.
never approve it. It's already been completed, but it's just the acceptance of it as part of the bylaws for
You
the
have no
audit
further
committee.
questions?
So do we have, if we did have some questions, would they be addressed?
You can, they would be addressed as far as the Crossland or Janine over in accounting can answer the questions for you. I don't know that it would change the outcome of the audit, the single audit, but we can always get questions answered as well. And we can do that in the meeting or we can do it offline.
Okay.
And we, that's why I said it. The first thing I said is if we're ready to accept, we can do that unless there's a deadline. If not, I don't mind at all putting it on the agenda for next time.
Well, maybe the question is, can we accept it and still ask questions about it?
Yes.
Yeah, we are happy to answer any questions at any time that you guys have about any of our reports, whether it's the ACFR or single audit. You're always welcome to send those. You can send them to Kelly and she can get them to me, or you can send them to Lauren and Lauren can send those to myself as well. But we're always happy to.
We have put things, reviewed it in one session and put it on the agenda for the next. And if it's okay with the committee, that's what we'll do in this case, give people a chance to look over it, and we just put it on the next agenda. Is that okay?
Great, thank you.
Next is the management letter, also with John.
So this is in relation, we always hold this until the single audit is issued. And so this covers the June 30, 2021 ACFR and single audit. We have 4 management letter comments this year. We do not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, so the material weakness would be the most severe that would affect your single audit and make it high risk. It's not a significant deficiency either, which is kind of a mid-level comment. Management letter comments are not required comments. They're just comments that we saw as we were conducting our work that we thought would be helpful. So I'll briefly go over those. The first couple, although they are repeats from previous years, they are getting better. The first one being timely preparation of bank reconciliations. We, in the course of the audit, we obviously test a lot of bank reconciliations, and the operating concentration account was not timely reconciled, which is 45 days on a couple occasions. And there were a couple other bank recs, one in water and sewer and one with municipal auditorium, that they weren't dated. So we don't know whether they were on time or not. But my understanding from, and you can see management's responses in here, for this one it's on the top of page 3, that they are automating this process in 2022 and anticipated rollout in 23. So hopefully that comment will forever go away. The next comment is timely recording of cash receipts. We had a couple observations when we test certain property tax receipts. We tested a sample of 60, and there were 2 instances when the receipts were not timely posted to the general ledger. One was 2.5 months, and one was 5 months after that. My understanding is the trustee's office has implemented procedures to ensure that this happens within 45 days in the future. The third one at the bottom of page 3 has to do with water and sewer. There was some construction in progress balances that were put into service, but they weren't properly capitalized, so we had to make some journal entries, material journal entries to get those books right and to get those capital assets appreciated. And finally, on page 4, has to do with the CFA, what Jennifer just went over, the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. So having to do with the preparation of this. So management prepares the CFA, and it's quite a lengthy ordeal. It takes cooperation of departments across all the metro government, and we found some errors and revisions that needed to be made within the CFA, things reported twice, incorrect CFDA numbers, things that are really important to auditors, that since it's a compliance audit, there's some things that dictate exactly how we audit and which grants are audited. So it's very important to have all those minute details, at least from an audit standpoint, correct. So to make sure we audit the right programs. We have a new team in finance, and I have confidence that that'll be cleaned up. I know the understanding is there to do that. So, anybody want to dig in deeper or have any questions regarding these points?
On the timely recording of cash receipts on the property taxes, there were 2 that weren't posted.
Right.
In the general ledger, 2.5 months and 5 months late. Was there any indication of what happened, why that happened?
No. Not that I can remember.
Is that?
I can find out for you.
Well, I guess
I think it just.
So when they come in, they should be immediately posted? Is that typically what happens?
Typically, within 45 days, they should be posted.
Okay.
So, it could be it's obviously a breakdown in the control and the process of how things, if one receipt gets pulled out for whatever reason, or one day of receipts get put in a different place than they were supposed to be put, and it's not that the money's not being deposited in the bank, it's just the fact that the receipt is not being recorded in general ledger.
Okay.
So if the money's just, I mean, that's obviously a big deal, bigger deal if the money's.
The money gets
money's
deposited, it
that's
just
right.
doesn't get put into a respective ledger.
That's right.
Then you can catch that doing
And it was caught up.
reconciliation.
By the time we tested, it was caught up.
When you do a reconciliation, that would be an item.
Reconciling item. Right.
One of the things we're doing is we're automating a lot of our bank reconciliations across multiple bank accounts, and the trustee account is one such bank rec. So those will be done in a really, like, I call them real-time fashion, where we can actually download on a weekly basis the activity that's hitting the bank every week. And so we can track that and make sure that everything's being recorded in the right time. So that really kind of goes to that first comment as well. Both of those should be resolved in terms of automation.
Any other questions?
You know, I guess my question or trying to get an understanding is how much money are we talking about when we talk about the property taxes that were not receipted, or when we're talking about the misstatement with Metro Water? Are we talking about any kind of significant amount of money that could matter?
Money in the sense of how large the journal entry was, or how
Yes.
large the reconciliation was off. The property tax, I don't remember the two that we found were necessarily material. It's more of a breakdown of the control that we were concerned with. The reason the entry for the fixed assets was in here was not necessarily because we had to make an entry to put a capital asset in service. That in and of itself is not a big deal, but it was a material number, and that's why it kind of gave us the EBGBs a little bit of, hey, you know, there was, even though it was a partial year of depreciation that should have been taken because the capital asset was so large, it was a pretty good number that needed the depreciation that needed to be booked. So.
But we'll do the same thing with this report. Since we just got it, we'll give you guys a chance to look over it, and then we'll put it on the agenda next time. For any
Well, I mean, since it's in the narrative form, you know, it makes a little
I
bit
don't
more
mind.
sense to me.
I don't mind. I don't mind. I think that's and we've done this numerous times. It's not an issue.
Okay.
But it is, I think, compared to your report a year ago, it's much cleaner.
Cleaner.
Much cleaner.
This is the shortest management letter we've issued.
And
Not having findings is a big
it's a number of years, 7.
Yeah. Yeah. The first several years had material weaknesses.
So, good job.
This is the best one we've issued.
Okay. We'll put it on the agenda next time. Thanks, Jim.
Next is an item that was added to the agenda at the request of our Deputy Finance Director, Janine Kaufman, so I will let her go through it.
Thank you. I'm Janine Kaufman, Deputy Finance Director, so hope everybody's doing well today and dried out from this morning. We wanted to let you know, and we did send out some pre-read information that you guys should have received in your materials that Lauren sent out, that we will be changing the opinion for the act for this year from Physical 21 to Physical 22, from an opinion on individual funds to a in-relation opinion. So what does that mean exactly? It means that this book itself will not change at all. All of the information in this book will be the exact same. All of the schedules, all the statistics, all of the schedules, every single thing in this book will be the exact same thing. The only thing that will change is the actual opinion that the auditors will actually issue. So the in-relation opinion is actually approved by the state. It's in the state manual, and it's actually the opinion that the state actually issues as well. It is also what most municipalities across the country use as well. So we call this as a modernization of our opinion in terms of changing this opinion. So I'm going to pause there just to see if you guys have any questions about that. The auditors are certainly here to answer any questions about what that actually means in terms of their process or their testing. But again, every single thing in the audit book will be the exact same thing. It's really on about some of their testing that would change in terms of changing that opinion. Josh is here as well from legal, and if you have any questions about the chart.
You said it's changing from what to what?
It's an opinion on the individual funds to an in relation opinion, and that's in relation to the basic financial statements. So currently, we audit all non-major enterprise funds. We audit all individual funds individually. And what this is changing in is a lot of those non-major funds will be audited in relation to the basic financial statements.
You don't have any?
I should have prefaced with, I said we shouldn't even bring this up here because it's not something that we need to approve or that anyone intuitively understands. So everyone's adequately confused, I think, for something that I couldn't break our lawyer down to not presenting. But
Y'all have any, how does this affect y'all's work? I know we're not trying to prove, we're just seeking to understand.
All the
the
major
goal for
funds.
transparency that I was like, good luck with this one. It's going to
All the
confuse.
major funds are going to remain unchanged as far as our audit procedures are. The non-major funds will be put in buckets, and we're basically going to use a materiality that's in aggregate rather than individual funds. For instance, like Janine brought up enterprise funds, like the non-major enterprise funds, not the major enterprise, just the non-major, like Board of Fair Commissioners, Farmers Market, Surplus Property Auction, Municipal, and Police Impound. Those, we give an individual opinion on each of those funds. And each of those individual funds are minuscule compared to the overall combined financial statements.
I got you.
We're not going to ignore any of these funds. We're just going to take the total column, for instance, of those five I just mentioned, put them together, and our scope is going to be over the total of those five. We're still going to get coverage on all five. It's just our aggregate, our materiality goes up.
So what does your opinion go from to the words themselves?
It basically, we're going to be opining on those non-major funds in the aggregate rather than on individual. Instead of 90-something funds, it's going to be a lot less number of funds. And be honest with you, most of those funds are tested.
I get in relationship to, okay?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I doubted it, and y'all understood it.
I had a question about, does the state approves this one? Does the state approve the other way of doing
Yeah,
it?
there's two that, both of those opinions are acceptable at the state in the state manual, and they're also acceptable across all the governmental accounting standards as well. So both are acceptable. It's just that really no one uses the individual. So we are, again, trying to kind of modernize what we're doing here, kind of like we're trying to automate a lot of processes as well to develop some of those internal controls, and this is another modernization to our audit process.
And this approach is obviously, it's approved by the state.
Absolutely, it's approved by the state.
So I think that.
It's what their opinion is. Like
That's
if you,
that's the process you go through about, hey, we want to go from this to this. Well, what we think is what the state approves. I got you. Okay, any,
We don't have to vote on that, right?
no, it was really just for your information.
thank you.
Did you do that at every meeting, bring up something that we don't understand?
I can totally do that. I'll bring muffins and we'll talk about.
I would imagine it helps the auditors a lot.
I mean, a lot of that testing is done through internal control work.
Yeah, you're going to test the internal controls.
And we're going to test internal controls regardless, but it'll help on substantive testing.
Okay. Next.
Our next item is we engaged Craft CPAs, which is one of our consultants, to perform an audit of the Health Department's information technology, security management, and governance due to their area of expertise that we don't have within our office. And so they are here to present that report. We have Erica Hightower and Scott Nally, and we also from the Health Department have Jim Diamond here. Erica?
Okay, good afternoon. The goal of our IT security management and governance governance audit was to evaluate processes and procedures related to IT, information security, data governance, and controls over protected health information. You'll note on page 2 of our report that although this was not considered a HIPAA assessment, our objectives did consider compliance with HIPAA privacy and security rules where applicable. Our audit period covered the time frame between January 2020 through April of 2021. And as you all know, the health department experienced a significant increase in the volume of their activities during that time related to the ongoing pandemic. So these circumstances, along with the increase of their activities, could have led to some of the findings in our report. On page 4 is a summary of the findings we've noted. We identified 1 high-risk finding, 4 medium-risk findings, and 3 low-risk findings. And our overall auditor's grade was rated as a needs improvement, as there were just some key areas we identified that needed to be addressed. Related to the 1 high-risk finding noted on page 6, we noted that logical and physical access for terminated employees is not always removed timely. During our testing, we identified 2 terminated employees whose logical and physical access were still active at the time of our testing. In addition, we noted that the health department had not implemented a formal process to perform reviews of physical access or logical access to health department systems, which may have identified those users. Management has worked to address this issue by reinforcing current policies and procedures related to access removals, as well as hiring an information systems security analyst whose job duties will include performing user access reviews going forward. Related to the first medium risk finding on page 7, we noted that that health department systems have not been subject to penetration testing. Health department and ITS management will work to address this issue by evaluating the need to either perform network penetration testing over health department systems or other comparable technical vulnerability assessments in consideration of HIPAA and other security best practices. Also on page 7, the next medium risk finding, we noted that the health department does not maintain a formal or documented risk assessment, which considers the security of all health department information systems, and the health department has not yet documented a data classification policy. To address this issue, management intends on performing an assessment of health department systems along with assessing the risks and the different threats and scenarios associated with those systems. And management will also create an inventory of all data stored by the health department and assess the risks related to the protection of that data. The next medium risk finding on page 8, we noted that the health department has not documented a formal testing program or established a formal process to perform periodic testing of the disaster recovery, business continuity, or incident response plans. To address this, management intends on updating the continuity of operations and all hazards plan documents, as well as establishing an additional multi-year training and exercise testing plan. And related to the last medium risk finding on page 9, We noted that the Health Department's business continuity and disaster recovery plan documents do not include a business impact analysis, which defines specific recovery point objectives or recovery time objectives related to critical health department systems. To address this issue, management will incorporate a business impact analysis within the all hazards plan and continuity of operations plan. Starting on page 10, we noted 3 additional low-risk findings related to new hire training, change management documentation, and visitor logs. In the interest of time, I won't cover those findings in detail unless you all have any other questions. Otherwise, that concludes my prepared remarks on the report. Are there any questions on any of the findings?
Questions? This is a pretty lengthy report, so why don't we, if you have any questions, we can take them, or we can also roll this one onto the next agenda for any further follow-up.
So this began to sound like the Metro Council meetings. Defer everything.
Indefinitely deferred.
I think I've stumped you all on this one.
Well, we do not, basically, we don't accept this one way or the other. We just have questions, and we'll just keep those questions open for our next agenda if you have any. If not,
Well, I do work with the health department in my day job pretty often, and I've actually seen some changes in these areas, so I'm happy to see that.
I guess maybe I just don't know enough, being new, like procedurally, the relationship between ITS and the health department. For that the first high-risk one, I guess I would have thought that ITS just shuts you down, like locks you out if you get fired or you quit day up, and that's not how it works.
Sure. Not exactly. We have employees who, if they leave with 3 months of vacation time, allow that to run out. So we should be deactivating their access to the Active Directory, but we can't just make them disappear entirely the day they walk out the door. So we do have, as she mentioned, we do have policies and procedures in place. With COVID, things fell off the tracks a little bit because we have 500 employees, but we also onboarded probably 500 more temps in and out during the during that time. So, and we also had people working from home some and not in the office to some degree. So we didn't follow as well as we could. We did, just FYI, check the logs of those employees identified. One of them was an animal control officer who didn't ever have access to PHI or use their badge to scan into any areas of the department that had access to PHI. So, we've remedied that for sure. Even before the audit. But they are correct. There were 2 that were missed. But yes, and no to your question. We should have done a better job of identifying them and deactivating their access to the network.
anything else? I noticed there's a lot of implementation dates towards the end of the year. So how will you kind of keep us? How will you keep us?
These will roll into our normal, our normal implementation follow-up. So on December 31st, we'll reach out and ask if they've been implemented and to follow up as needed.
Well, it's here, and if we have any questions, we can discuss next time, but it looks like we're pretty much done with this. Y'all have any comments?
We just thank for performing this audit for us. They're one of our consultants that we've been able to use for, especially for these IT type audits.
And they're based in
Nashville.
Nashville.
District, as a matter of fact.
It'll take you a long time to get to the health department from your location,
No.
because you're located in Nashville.
Yes.
It didn't take that long.
Right.
Yeah, we're in Metro.
I just go from Metro Center to keep 28th on to Charlotte.
Yeah, so you didn't have to take an airplane or anything.
No, not this time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all.
You know what?
Let's see. Yeah, Bill.
Okay, recently a report was issued regarding an external peer review conducted on our audit office. And what a peer review is, in case you don't know, we go out on a day-to-day basis and we're auditing different departments, different services, functions. Every 3 years, the tables are turned and our work is reviewed. So if you look at our charter, we're required to follow specific professional standards, specifically government auditing standards, which are Yellow Book. So if I say Yellow Book, those are the standards that we follow. And Yellow Book says we have to have one of these peer reviews conducted every 3 years. And so what they're going to do, they're going to send an external team out. We did an RFQ, a request for quote, to select who the external auditors were going to be. It was the Association of Local Government Auditors. And we selected those guys because one, they do local government audit. It has a different flavor to it. Our peer review team, there were 2 of them. The person who led it has been a director for an internal audit shop for at least 20 years. She's done at least 17 peer reviews. So they know the general concerns that can occur within an audit shop. They do a lot of different peer reviews. But what they're going to do is they're going to come down, they're going to look at our policies and procedures. They're going to talk to staff to see how acquainted they are with the standards, the audit process. They're going to pull a sample of audits that we've conducted within the 3-year period. They're also going to talk to various stakeholders to get their input on our office. But they do their work, they'll generate a report, and the report basically has 3 different grades. So you have pass with deficiencies, or fail. And again, their main objective is, do we have a framework in place, a quality assurance process in place to make sure that we're conducting our audits in accordance with these standards. Happy to say they did their work and we passed. They did have some verbal comments, which we'll go over here in just a second. One thing that's important to note in terms of the time period, they looked at calendar year 19, 20, and 21. If you look at our last peer review, it went through December 31st of 16. So there's 2 years, 17 and 18, that did not receive a peer review. Now, what happened, we were technically supposed to have a peer review back in May of 2020, but then you had the pandemic hit, so everything got shut down. So they basically were not in violation of the GAO not to look at those 2 years. So, but it is important to note that those 2 years were not covered in the peer review. In terms of their verbal comments, you have good and bad. The good tone at the top, they were impressed with Lauren. Secondly, they liked our audit software system that we have in place. They liked our policies and procedures. They liked the fact that within our audit software system, embedded in the procedure steps, basically if you follow our procedure steps, you'll cover most of the standards that are covered. So that kind of gives us extra assurance that we're meeting the standards. They liked our follow-up process. They were impressed with our staff. They talked to them in terms of, they look at things like performance evaluations, certifications, resumes, and they were impressed with the quality of our staff. In terms of the negative, a couple of them had to do with policies and procedures. One of the things that Yellow Book requires is that if you're doing government audit, you have to have so much continual professional education, CPEs. Specifically, you have to have 80 hours within a 2-year period. But it gives you some flexibility, so you don't have to have it like 40 one year, 40 the next. As long as you get 20 in 1 year, get 60 in the next, you just have to have 80 in that time period. Well, for that to work, you really need to know what your 2-year time period is, which we had it in our procedures, but there's some confusion in terms of what those 2-year that 2-year period was. So they asked us to beef up our policies and procedures to make sure it was communicated with staff. So we're happy to do that. 2 2 of their verbal comments had to do with our actual execution of the procedures within the audits. They looked at 8 different engagements. One of the engagements, one of our procedure steps, or one of the standards addresses assessing internal, like your information systems, IT systems. So if we're doing an audit and you're placing reliance on information that's coming out of an IT system, well, it's important to be able to have assurance that the integrity of that information is good. So we have different steps that we go through to do that. So is there a SOC report? Do they have general and application controls? All this good stuff. Well, at the end of that, you have to have a conclusion. You can place reliance on it or you can't place reliance on it. In this one particular case, we've done all the work to go through and do that assessment. We just didn't explicitly within the work papers state you can place reliance on it or not. The second one, when you get to the end of an audit, you have a report. And in that report, you have objective questions. And so one of the things that we do is we sit back and we say, okay, is the test work and the documentation that we have that gives us our conclusions, is it sufficient? Is it comprehensive enough? There's one of the 8 where we didn't document that. The reason it didn't make it up to a report, and I would say a verbal comment is something where you didn't meet the standards, but it was not either pervasive enough or impactful enough to make it up to the report. If you go through our work papers, there's a ton of where we're talking to staff or we're reviewing the work papers. We have something called a cross-reference where you have a draft report. They have to tick and tie or in charge everything back to the work paper. So it's in form, we didn't do that one procedure step. But in substance, if you go through our work papers, it's all throughout the work papers. That's basically it in terms of the verbal comment, but we were very pleased with this report. We've had a lot of change over the last 3 years. We've had 3 different audit directors, we've had COVID, we've had just a lot of different stuff. They did focus I think all the engagements the reports were issued during Lauren's time, so that was good too, because we also had in 2018 revisions to the Yellow Book. So, the good thing here is it's the most current audits that we've done, but we're really pleased with it. And we're always welcome. And I know they talked to some of you all. Thank you for taking the time to talk to them. But we're happy.
I was kind of waiting for that to be a deficiency, so I'm glad
What, that they talked to you?
Yeah. Well, I didn't say they talked to me, but
You have comments about muffins.
I did. Is that noted in?
It was actually, well, it's
are there
verbally
any
did.
questions about any comments about this? Is Nashville, or all the audit groups around that you guys pull from, are they independent? Like Nashville?
What do you mean by it?
I mean, structurally, like where they're located within. That's actually that's a great question, because
From a legal standpoint, yeah.
that's one of the things that the standards address. One,
I'm talking about the people that come to
Like
do the
crap?
peer review.
Oh, the peer review, yes.
Are
Oh,
they
yeah,
coming
absolutely.
from a situation that's independent or just part of the finance department or another model?
it varies. In turn, you're talking about the people like other jurisdictions within ALGA.
Our peer review folks,
Yes.
Amanda and Casey, do they come from independent
biggest-
audit groups or?
Amanda's, I believe, I'm quite certain, is independent. The Casey's, I'm not completely sure. The big deal for them is that, or at least for ALGA, is they try to pull from other Yellow Book shops. So because we're all trying to follow the same standards.
Because as much as we can, and I imagine that's becoming they're becoming more independent, but as much as we can kind of lean on that, because I think some of the questions that they had of me was almost as if, the committee was the audit group, day to day. Maybe they got that from you.
I don't know.
But anyway,
This is kind of
they were quite helpful, very professional, and I thank them for taking the time.
Is that the famous Yellow Book?
I know, I was saying,
It's
I
literally
finally
a yellow book.
understand why it's called the Yellow Book.
I just like to touch it.
We all have a copy in our office.
I think I saw it in 1974.
Has it changed since then?
I don't know.
It used to be a smaller book. They made it bigger.
They made it bigger.
Government accounting is different.
I feel like an honorary member of the accounting profession.
You can have that, I'm sure. Can you have it?
Please. Bob.
No,
It's all-
I just
We had
can't.
a guy that used to do our CP like 20 years ago, and he used to tell a story. None of us really knew whether it was the truth or not. Bill brought us, and he said, yeah, I wrote most of that yellow book decades ago, and he said, I sat at my windowsill, and it used to be a different color, and the sun faded it yellow, and that's why they called it yellow.
I don't believe that.
Well, Tennessee.
He did write most of it. We know
They
that.
still have
The blue book.
the blue book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been around for
One year it was
100 years.
One year it was orange.
Well, there's an orange book, green book, yellow book, red book.
He
Okay.
voluntarily signed for it.
Different standards that maybe.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bill. You have the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, we did the follow-up on the general government benefits audit. We have Seth Hatfield. He was the person who did the original audit. He did the follow-up audit. We appreciate all the work he does for us. But this one there were 4 recommendations in the original report. In this case, 3 of them have been fully implemented. There's 1 that's partially implemented. The one that's partially implemented has to do with, we've got charter schools about Davidson County. There's a subset of their employee base that gets to participate in our benefits program. And so it's real important, particularly when it comes to the pension, that we have correct payroll information. And so we had a new software system, R12, that was implemented a couple years ago. They're trying to make it where your charter schools, it's a manual process now, which can lead to a lot of mistakes. We're trying to make it where they're all using the same format. They have access to integrated with R12 so we can have more assurance on the reliability of the information that's coming through. Well, that can be a little bit sticky. They're in the process of doing that, but they hope to have that implemented by the end of this fiscal year.
Okay. Anybody have anything on that? Okay. Double business.
We are going to defer the General Hospital allegations investigation, another meeting. We're still working through the documentation to make sure that we have the correct documentation for the remainder of the test work that needed to be done. So that one will be deferred.
Okay, next item. We met last week for the recruitment appointment process for the term 2022 to 2030. Interviewed candidates for the 4 of the committee members, and we came out with results. Did you document that? Are you ready to give a report of what we did, or Terry?
Yeah, I'm happy to kind of give a recap. We basically, as we know, Metropolitan Charter, we have a Metropolitan Auditor. They serve 8-year terms. The previous director left 6 years into their term, so we had, 2 years ago, Lauren was hired in as the Metropolitan Auditor. But based on the charter, we still have to go through, when that 8 years is up, we have to go through the process of, interviewing folks again. So last week you guys came in, you did the interviews, you've selected your top 3 candidates to go to council. Lauren is number 1. The Metropolitan Clerk has put it on the agenda for the next council meeting, which is next week. So what's going to happen is, at least what I've seen in the past, is it'll go before the council. Typically, it's just kind of perfunctory, because they have to rely on what you guys have done. They don't know they haven't had an opportunity to look through these things. So they'll vote, you'll give them the 1, 2, 3, and then they'll vote to accept it. Theoretically, they could reject it. They could take somebody 2 or 3, but they.
For the record, the committee recommended unanimously Lauren Riley, ranked number 1, Philip Reynolds, number 2, and Jennifer Anderson, number 3. That's the, I guess it was the audit committee interview ranking. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved. Second.
And any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Okay. And next steps, you say it's on the,
It's on the agenda for next week's council meeting.
okay, and it will be, our council members will,
We will advocate.
Yes. Don't worry, we got this.
Yeah.
let the minutes reflect. Anyway, thank, Human Resources did a great job pulling us. We had good resumes, and thank everyone for being here, because sometimes it doesn't go as quickly. Okay, anything else? Is that all we needed to do on that, Terry?
Yes.
Okay.
But thank you guys, if I could, real quick, because, it is hard. I know you guys are busy, and it's hard getting everybody together.
Well,
So thank you.
IT, I mean,
Oh, they were great.
we got 3 out of 4, and it kind of got diverted a little bit. Anyway, do you, I guess, Lauren, do you have the last items?
I'd say there's not much to go over with the rest of it. We didn't have any recommendations that came up since the last audit committee meeting, so we're still at 59 because we added on some from the Health Department IT audit. We currently have 8 projects that are in process. 2 of those are in draft reporting phase, and we've issued 3 reports. We've got 1 investigation that we're in a draft phase, so that one should come up at the next meeting. We've had 8 calls or alerts to our Hub Nashville site, with 3 of them still open just for us to determine predication of whether or not we'll investigate. And then for budget, we are still well within our budget. We did just have a meeting with 1 more consulting firm to hopefully, because we have 169 in consulting services, that we're hoping to kick that off very soon for them to start a project that will utilize more of that fund.
Did you all meet with the mayor's office? Somebody was going to meet with the mayor's office.
Budget requests.
Budget request.
Oh, we had the mayor's budget hearing last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, at this point, 2 weeks ago, and where we went through our request for the FY23 budget period. We did request 2 more employees, and we requested additional funds to cover our rent escalation, our software escalation, and to recoup our travel budget, since we never requested that last year when many of the departments got it back, because we were still okay with the hybrid trainings, but most of them are moving to in-person, and so going to those trainings is important for us.
And what level?
I'm sorry, what?
What level of staff?
We would go up to 12.
As far as,
We're not, we are operating under, trying to get people in at the lowest level and building them up. We've had good success with the 2 that we hired this year.
the entry level?
Yes.
Okay. Seemed like that's something I was going to ask. Next scheduled meeting, it looks like it's June 14th. Seemed like that gets
We moved it.
jammed up a little bit.
Usually that was always like the last Tuesday in June. We moved it up that way. If it does get kicked around with budget season, then we can
But
kind of continue to.
Before, it was right before the
Yes.
30th. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So we moved it up to hopefully alleviate some of that, but it may get moved, obviously, as budget hearings and everything happen.
Do we have a need for,
There's no need.
no need for executives? Anything else? A motion to
I would move to adjourn.
adjourn. John? I have talked to John.
Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.